Embracing divine selection, a journey beyond the ordinary. Welcome, the anointed ones. To be chosen by God is to embark on a journey that transcends logic, defies expectations, and often pushes you beyond the boundaries of your own comfort zone. Imagine this. The creator of the universe meticulously scans through the vast expanse of time and eternity, bypassing kings, scholars, and influencers, and ultimately settles his gaze upon you. Among billions, he declares, "You are the chosen one. You are the head, not the tail. Above only, never beneath." Sounds exhilarating, doesn't it? But here's the catch. God's promotion plan does not come with shortcuts, cheat codes, or even the assurance that your Wi-Fi signal will remain strong. Here's a thought to challenge your mind. Studies reveal that people often vastly underestimate their own potential. Yet, those who possess unwavering purpose can rise above their circumstances an astonishing 95% of the time. If that's what science suggests about human effort, just imagine the extraordinary heights God can take you when He calls and equips you for His divine purpose. However, don't get too comfortable. Being chosen is not a free pass to a life of ease and safety. Instead, it is a divine setup for elevation and a series of challenges that will stretch you beyond your limits. If you believe that being the head is solely about wearing crowns and receiving accolades, think again. It's a battlefield of faith, a test of resilience, and sometimes even a stage for God's divine sense of humor. After all, who else but God would choose a shepherd boy to slay a giant, or a stuttering fugitive to lead a nation? So buckle up. This journey isn't just about being chosen. It's about stepping into a narrative where God rewrites the rules, flips the script, and transforms the impossible into your everyday reality. Ready to discover what it truly means to be above only and never beneath? Let's dive in. 1. Being chosen comes with uncommon isolation. Being chosen by God often means walking a path of isolation. This solitude is not the peaceful or poetic kind. Rather, it is a deliberate separation. There are seasons when God removes you from the familiar, the comfortable, and even the people you believed were indispensable to your life. This isolation is not a form of punishment, but a form of preparation. When God decides to elevate you, He must pull you away from distractions and influences that cannot accompany you to the next level. This kind of isolation can feel deeply personal, leading you to feel misunderstood or even rejected by those around you. However, this period of solitude is where destiny is forged. God does not work amidst the noise of everyday life. He utilizes silence to sharpen your hearing and quiet spaces to clarify your vision. During these times, you might feel overlooked while others seem to thrive, but perhaps God is not forgetting you. Maybe He is intentionally hiding you, refining you in the shadows so that when you emerge as a leader, you are thoroughly prepared. Isolation strips away the masks, crutches, and illusions you didn't even realize you relied on. It forces you to confront the parts of yourself you've been avoiding, the insecurities, the pride, the doubts. It's not glamorous, but it is necessary. The truth is, God's chosen ones don't grow in the spotlight. They are formed in the secret place. In these lonely spaces, your character is tested, your faith is deepened, and your identity is firmly anchored. If you find yourself in a season where doors are closing and people are walking away, it might be because God is setting you apart for something greater. Elevation isn't about blending in. It's about being set apart, and isolation is often the first step in that transformative journey. 2. God's selection overrules human systems. When God chooses you, it doesn't matter what human systems, opinions, or hierarchies say. His selection overrides established rules, shatters traditions, and bypasses the qualifications that the world has set in place. It's not about your background, your appearance, or your achievements. It's about God's purpose for your life. God doesn't consult resumes or reputations. Instead, He looks at the heart, the potential, and the destiny He has already placed within you. Consider this. The world operates on a system of prerequisites, degrees, connections, status, and experience. But when God calls you, He doesn't wait for you to tick all the boxes. In fact, he often chooses the very people that the world has overlooked, dismissed, or deemed unworthy. Why does God do this? Because he specializes in turning the least likely into the most impactful. He uses your weaknesses to display his strength, your flaws to magnify his grace, and your setbacks as setups for his glory. Being chosen by God isn't just about bypassing human qualifications. It's about rewriting the rules entirely. It's God's way of saying, you don't need to fit their mold because I've already created one just for you. That's why people might scratch their heads, trying to figure out how you achieve your position. They might wonder why you were elevated when they have more credentials or experience. What they don't realize is that favor isn't fair, it's divine. God's selection is unstoppable. No boardroom decision, societal bias, or gatekeeper can block what he has ordained for you. When he calls you to be the head, no system designed to keep you beneath can succeed. His purpose always prevails, and when he sets you apart, it is final. 3. Being chosen is more of a weight than a title. Being chosen by God isn't merely a glamorous title. It's a heavy responsibility. When God declares you the head and not the tail, he isn't handing you a crown to wear. Instead, he is entrusting you with a mantle to carry. And make no mistake, it's a weight, not just a blessing. Leadership in God's kingdom isn't about status. It's about service. It means stepping into a role where your actions, decisions, and faith don't just impact you. They influence the lives of others. The truth is, being chosen places a target on your back. People will watch you closely, some to follow your example, and others hoping to find a flaw. God's elevation isn't an escape from scrutiny. It's an invitation into a higher level of accountability. You can't lead from the top and behave as if you're still at the bottom. Every decision, every word, every step you take becomes amplified. The higher you go, the less room there is for error, and the more dependent you must be on God. Being chosen also means carrying the weight of expectations. You will face moments where the pressure feels unbearable, where you wonder why God picked you when there are others who seem more qualified or capable. But God doesn't choose based on convenience. He chooses based on purpose. He sees what you can't, the strength he has placed in you, the endurance he's developing, and the impact you're destined to have. Leadership under God's calling isn't about the perks, it's about the price. It's about sacrifice, humility, and staying anchored in him when the weight feels too heavy. But here's the beauty. God never calls you to carry a weight without also giving you the grace to bear it. What feels like a burden today is shaping you for greatness tomorrow. 4. Elevation requires total submission. Elevation in God's kingdom demands total submission. You cannot expect to rise while clinging to your own ego, stubbornness, or self-serving plans. God isn't in the business of elevating those who believe they can do it all on their own. Instead, he raises those who fully yield to his will, trusting him completely, even when it doesn't make sense. Submission isn't just a one-time decision. It's a daily choice to lay down your pride, your plans, and your preferences at his feet. True submission goes beyond mere lip service. It's not about saying, I trust you, God, while secretly trying to control the outcome. It's about giving him access to every part of your life, your dreams, your fears, your flaws, and allowing him to shape them according to his purpose. Let's be real. That kind of surrender isn't easy. It challenges everything within us. It requires us to confront our deepest fears and insecurities, to let go of our preconceived notions, and to embrace a path that may be uncertain and filled with obstacles. But in that surrender lies true elevation. When you submit wholly to God's will, you open yourself up to his divine guidance and strength. You allow him to mold you into the person he intends you to be, equipped to handle the responsibilities he has set before you. In conclusion, being chosen by God is a profound honor that comes with its own set of challenges and responsibilities. It requires faith, resilience, and a willingness to step into the unknown. But with each step, God is there to guide, support, and elevate you beyond what you ever thought possible. Embrace your divine selection. and prepare to witness the extraordinary journey that lies ahead. Embracing divine elevation, surrendering for greater heights, wishing to cling to power, recognition, or the insistent need to be right can be a significant barrier on your spiritual journey. Until you are truly willing to let go, you cannot be uplifted. God cannot fully utilize someone who is only half committed. Partial submission is, in essence, rebellion in disguise. Rebellion inherently creates a barrier to elevation, preventing the divine flow of blessings and purpose. Consider this. If you are desperately holding on to your own agenda, how can you effectively carry out His? True surrender does not mean losing control. Rather, it means placing your life into the hands of the one who already holds the future. God elevates those who kneel, not out of weakness, but out of profound humility. In that posture of submission, He begins to mold, refine, and prepare you for a leadership role that honors Him above all else. When you relinquish your need to lead yourself, you create space for God to lift you to heights you could never achieve on your own. This act of letting go is not a sign of defeat, but a powerful declaration of trust in His divine plan. It is through this surrender that you allow God to work His magic, transforming your life in ways that surpass human understanding. Embracing this humility is the key to unlocking your true potential and stepping into the fullness of the purpose God has designed for you. 5. Being the head does not mean starting at the top. Being the head does not imply that your journey begins at the pinnacle. In reality, God often initiates His chosen ones at the very bottom, not as a form of punishment or discouragement, but as a means to prepare and refine them for the immense responsibilities of leadership. The low places in life are the crucibles where character is forged, faith is strengthened, and humility is cultivated. These seasons may feel frustrating or even bewildering, especially when the promise of elevation seems distant or unattainable. However, the truth is that God is far more invested in who you are becoming than in how swiftly you reach your destination. The journey itself is not the end goal. It is the training ground where you acquire the essential lessons needed for effective leadership. In moments of obscurity and hard work, God teaches you to strip away pride, sharpen your discernment, and build resilience. How can you lead effectively from the top if you haven't first learned to serve diligently from the bottom? How can you manage immense responsibility without having endured the weight of preparation? The tail is not a place of failure, but a place of formation. Being chosen means trusting God's process, even when it feels contrary to the promises He has made. Remember, God is not bound by time or circumstance. What may appear as a setback is often a strategic setup for something far greater. These low seasons are where you develop the depth, patience, and integrity that will sustain you when you eventually step into your role as the head. Leadership without thorough preparation is a recipe for disaster. But when God positions you at the bottom, it is because He is building a foundation robust enough to support the calling He has placed on your life. Trust the process, for God's promises are unfailing. They may start in unexpected places, but they will always lead to the fulfillment of His divine plan. 6. The anointing attracts opposition. When God anoints you and calls you to a higher purpose, you automatically become a target. The anointing on your life does not merely attract favor and blessings. It also draws opposition. Being chosen disrupts the status quo, exposes darkness, challenges comfort zones, and provokes resistance from people, systems, and even spiritual forces. This opposition is not because you have done something wrong. Rather, it is because you carry something powerful that threatens existing norms and hides the truth others may prefer to keep concealed. Elevation naturally stirs jealousy, insecurity, and misunderstanding in others. People who once celebrated your successes may begin to question, criticize, or even distance themselves from you. Not everyone can handle the light you bring into the world because it highlights aspects they would rather keep hidden. Some may resent your growth simply because it serves as a stark reminder of their own stagnation. The anointing separates you, and this separation often feels like rejection. However, this is not about them. It is about what God is accomplishing within you. The opposition you face is not solely external. Being anointed means grappling with internal battles as well. Doubts, fears, and the immense pressure to prove yourself. You might even question why God chose you in the first place, especially when the journey feels more like a battle than a blessing. But opposition is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. It is confirmation that you are walking in your divine calling. Even spiritual forces take notice of the anointing, as the enemy does not waste time attacking what poses a genuine threat. Your elevation is a direct challenge to his agenda, which is why the battles feel intensely personal. Remember, if God has anointed you, he has also equipped you for the fight. The opposition may be fierce, but it will never outweigh the power of God working within and through you. The anointing might cost you comfort and peace at times, but it is also the undeniable proof that God has set you apart for a significant purpose. Opposition is inevitable, but so is victory. Stand firm in your faith, knowing that God's strength will carry you through every challenge. 7. Your greatest battles will be internal, not external. The most significant battles you will face on the path to being the head are not with external forces, but within yourself. It is not about defeating rivals or overcoming opposition. It is about mastering the doubts, fears, insecurities, and weaknesses that reside inside you. God does not elevate chosen ones without first addressing what lies within them. He understands that no external enemy can defeat you unless you are already defeated internally. Self-doubt will often be your loudest critic, causing you to question whether you are truly capable of fulfilling the calling God has placed on your life. The fear of failure will attempt to convince you to remain in your comfort zone, where it is safe but stagnant. Insecurity will whisper that someone else is more qualified, more talented, or more deserving of the position God has set aside for you. These internal struggles are not merely distractions. They are the battlegrounds where your faith, courage, and trust in God are tested. Being chosen does not imply perfection. It signifies a willingness to be refined. God uses your internal battles to reveal areas that need growth and healing. The pride that needs to be humbled, the fear that needs to be replaced with faith, and the doubt that needs to be silenced by unwavering trust. This process is not easy and often feels like a war raging within you. But every struggle serves a purposeful end. God knows that true leadership starts from within. If you can master your emotions, discipline your thoughts, and align your will with His, no external challenge will be able to shake you. The real preparation for elevation occurs in the quiet, unseen battles of the soul. When you emerge victorious from these internal struggles, you will be ready to lead with strength, humility, and unshakable faith. Embrace these battles as opportunities for growth, knowing that each victory strengthens your character and deepens your relationship with God. 8. Being chosen is never for self-glorification. Being chosen by God is never about self-glorification. It is not a reward for your talents, achievements, or how well you can impress others. If God makes you the head, it is not to inflate your ego, but to align you with His divine purpose. The chosen ones are not elevated to be celebrated for their own sake. They are elevated to serve. The position is not about you. It is about what God wants to accomplish through you. God calls you to be a conduit, not a container. A conduit channels something greater than itself, directing resources, blessings, and influence to where they are needed most. In contrast, a container holds things for its own benefit. If you attempt to make your calling about personal glory, you risk severing the flow of God's purpose in your life. The headship God grants is not about sitting on a throne. It is about walking in humility, leading with wisdom, and pouring into others. True leadership in God's kingdom is sacrificial. It involves elevating others, protecting those entrusted to you, and ensuring that God's glory remains at the center of everything you do. The moment you start thinking it is about your abilities, charisma, or accomplishments, you miss the true essence of your calling. Being chosen means stepping into a role where you reflect God's light, not hoarding it. God's purpose for choosing you is always greater than you. It is about transforming lives, shifting cultures, and fulfilling His divine plan. If God has made you the head, it is because he trusts you to carry out his work, not because he desires you to take the credit. The chosen ones who understand this are the ones who truly thrive. They recognize that their elevation is not a destination, but a tool for advancing God's kingdom. By keeping the focus on God's purpose rather than personal accolades, you ensure that your leadership remains impactful and aligned with his will. 9. The mantle of being above only demands unwavering integrity. The mantle of being above only is not merely a title. It is a profound responsibility. Integrity is the cornerstone of true leadership, especially when called to a position of prominence and influence. To carry this mantle with unwavering integrity means embodying honesty, transparency, and moral uprightness in every aspect of your life. It requires a steadfast commitment to living out your values consistently, even when faced with challenges or temptations to compromise. Integrity ensures that your leadership is trusted and respected, both by those you lead and by God. It is about being a person of your word, someone who can be relied upon to make decisions that honor God and serve the greater good. Without integrity, the position of being above only loses its significance and becomes hollow. It is through unwavering integrity that you demonstrate your commitment to God's purposes and your dedication to leading with righteousness. Moreover, integrity in leadership fosters a positive and authentic environment where others feel safe and inspired to follow. It sets a powerful example of what it means to live a life devoted to God, encouraging those around you to pursue their own paths with similar dedication and honesty. Upholding integrity is not always easy, especially in the face of adversity, but it is essential for sustaining the trust and confidence necessary for effective leadership. In conclusion, the mantle of being above only is a sacred duty that demands a life of integrity, humility, and unwavering faith. Embrace this responsibility with a heart committed to serving God and others, knowing that your steadfastness will lead to lasting impact and divine favor. Let your actions reflect the integrity that God desires, and you will fulfill your role with honor and excellence. Upholding integrity, the pillar of true elevation. Embracing a life of unwavering integrity is essential for those called by God. As you ascend in God's calling, the world intensifies its attempts to pull you down through compromises, shortcuts, and temptations. Success and elevation may present opportunities to take the easy path, to bend the rules, or to claim credit for the divine work God has orchestrated. However, genuine elevation necessitates a steadfast commitment to uphold God's standards, even when everything around you encourages the contrary. Integrity transcends merely doing the right thing when everyone is watching. It is about consistently choosing righteousness when no one is present. It serves as the foundation that stabilizes you amidst the overwhelming pressure to conform or cut corners in a world that often prioritizes expedience over ethics and success over sincerity. By choosing to maintain your integrity, you distinguish yourself from the crowd. It is effortless to become distracted by the allure of seemingly quicker and easier routes to success. But true greatness is built upon the unshakable bedrock of honesty, honor, and truth. Being chosen by God signifies that you are not merely a leader by title, but a leader by example. If you compromise your integrity, even momentarily, you risk not only your position, but also the trust and respect of those who look to you for guidance. People are always observing, and more importantly, God is perpetually watching. When you stand firm in integrity, even when it is challenging or unpopular, you honor God and remain aligned with his divine purpose. True elevation is not about making deals or seeking the next opportunity to climb higher. It is about being consistent in your character, regardless of how steep the climb may be. Integrity acts as an anchor, keeping you grounded as you rise. It is the one attribute that ensures your elevation is not a fleeting moment, but a lasting legacy. In maintaining integrity, you guarantee that your rise is sustainable and impactful, reflecting the true essence of leadership that glorifies God and inspires those around you. 10. Chosen ones must embrace unpredictable paths. Being chosen by God entails embarking on a journey that defies predictability. God rarely follows the straight and easy paths that we might envision when He promises us elevation. Instead, the road to becoming the head and not the tail is often winding, filled with detours, delays, and setbacks that may seem unrelated to the destination He has promised. These unexpected turns are integral to His divine strategy, serving as a means to build your character and prepare you for the responsibilities that lie ahead. Unpredictable paths compel you to relinquish control, presenting moments when everything appears to be falling apart. Doors that once seemed wide open may suddenly close, and opportunities you thought were within reach might slip through your fingers despite your best efforts. These times can be incredibly frustrating, yet they are never in vain. They test your faith, patience, and resilience, ensuring that your reliance on God deepens even when circumstances seem contrary to His promises. In the face of unpredictability, it is easy to question whether God is still in control. However, it is precisely during these uncertain times that His sovereignty shines the brightest. God understands that if He were to grant you everything all at once, you might miss the profound growth necessary to become the leader you are called to be. Setbacks do not signify that His promises are failing. Rather, they indicate that you are being shaped for something greater. These detours teach you to depend on God in ways you wouldn't if everything were smooth and predictable. They help you develop endurance, patience, and trust in His perfect timing. While the path may be unpredictable, it is meticulously designed to prepare you for the heights to which you are destined to rise. Embrace the uncertainty, for every twist and turn is molding you into a leader with a heart tested, refined, and equipped to handle the immense responsibilities ahead. The detours are not mere obstacles, but divine preparations ensuring that when you rise, you are truly ready for the elevation God has planned for you. 11. Your influence will extend beyond imagination. When God calls you to be above only, your influence transcends what you might ever imagine. It is not about gaining proximity to power or surrounding yourself with influential individuals. It is about the profound impact you make wherever God places you. Elevation means carrying God's purpose into spaces where His presence has been absent and transforming environments that once seemed beyond reach. Your influence will extend beyond your expectations, not because of your own strength, but due to God's power working through you in unexpected areas. God does not limit you to leading within the confines of the church or familiar circles where people already recognize Him. Instead, He sends His chosen ones into boardrooms, industries, and societal spheres where His light has yet to shine. This mission is not about accumulating titles or seeking personal recognition. It is about introducing His kingdom into places of influence, such as the workplace, government, entertainment, and education. As you walk in God's calling, your influence will permeate spaces you never anticipated. You may find yourself leading in areas that seem detached from your original plans or training. But this is the beauty of God's strategy. He positions His chosen ones where they are needed most, equipping them with the ability to bring about transformation. Your influence will ripple out to people and places that might not even be on your radar, demonstrating that being above only is not about elevating yourself, but about elevating others and infusing God's influence into every arena He calls you to. 12. You are chosen to defy limits, not just succeed. Being chosen by God to be the head and not the tail is not about fitting into existing frameworks of success. It is about breaking those frameworks entirely. God does not elevate you to conform to the rules already in place, but to transcend them. You are not called to merely compete within the boundaries of human expectations. You are chosen to redefine what leadership looks like, challenge the status quo, and demonstrate to the world that there is a higher, better way of doing things. Leadership in God's kingdom is not confined to conventional methods. It is about innovation, pioneering new paths, and creating opportunities where none existed before. Whether in business, education, politics, or within your community, God calls you to introduce something fresh and transformative. He does not ask you to follow a path that has already been walked. Instead, He empowers you with the vision and strength to carve out your own trail, one that reflects his values, wisdom, and creativity. To be chosen is to be granted the freedom to break through barriers that others perceive as insurmountable. You are not bound by the limitations of your circumstances, upbringing, or the world's definitions of success. Instead, you are empowered to innovate, think beyond expectations, and create new possibilities for yourself and those around you. Embracing your calling as one who defies limits makes you a beacon of what is possible when God is at the center of your leadership. Being the head is more than winning a competition. It is about changing the game entirely. God has chosen you not just to succeed, but to set new standards, challenge existing paradigms, and lead with a vision that only He could have instilled in you. Your elevation is an invitation to think differently, act boldly, and lead with a purpose that surpasses the ordinary. The journey of being chosen by God is not for the faint of heart or those seeking to elevate themselves through their own strength. It is a path marked by refinement, humility, and an unwavering commitment to God's purpose. You are not chosen for self-glorification, but to be a vessel of His glory, to lead with integrity, to break through limitations, and to make an impact that extends far beyond your imagination. As you rise, remember that the weight of your elevation is not meant to burden you, but to shape you into the leader God has called you to be. It will challenge your ego, stretch your faith, and refine your character in ways you never anticipated. Embrace this divine calling, knowing that every test and every triumph is part of God's perfect plan to mold you into a leader of lasting impact and profound influence. Embracing your divine calling, rising above with purpose and integrity. In every setback and every moment of uncertainty, hold steadfast to the belief that God is diligently working within you, preparing you for a greatness that transcends your own benefit. This greatness is not solely for your personal advancement, but is destined to ignite transformation in the lives of those around you. To be the head and not the tail is not merely about occupying a position of authority. It is about understanding and fulfilling the profound purpose that such a position entails. Your role is to demonstrate a form of leadership that mirrors God's compassionate heart, a leadership unafraid to go the extra mile, to serve with humility, and to rise above challenges in ways that surpass human comprehension. This calling to be above only is a sacred responsibility, one that is designed to inspire, lead, and instigate meaningful change in areas where God's presence is most needed. Stand firm in your calling. Embrace the unpredictability of the path laid before you, trusting the process even when the journey seems unclear. Never compromise your integrity, for it is the cornerstone of true leadership. Remember, God has chosen you for a specific reason. Walk boldly and without hesitation into the role He has prepared for you, knowing that the world eagerly awaits the unique impact only you can make. If this message resonates with you, if you feel the weight of your calling and are ready to embark on the journey God has set before you, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel and stay connected. The transformation is just beginning. Here, you will discover more powerful insights, receive unwavering encouragement, and find guidance to help you walk boldly in the divine purpose God has envisioned for your life. Do not miss the opportunity to be part of a community that is dedicated to elevating, empowering, and leading with intention. Hit that subscribe button and join us as we continue to rise together. Your greatness is merely the beginning, and with God's blessing, you are set to achieve remarkable things. Embrace your calling with confidence and faith, knowing that your journey of leadership and transformation is unfolding exactly as it should. God bless you on this extraordinary path.